Kleptomania, analyzing the psychological and sociological factors behind the impulse to steal. Introduction. Kleptomania is a type of deviant behavior defined as repeated and compulsive stealing of items, often without need or personal gain. This presentation explores the prevalence, theoretical explanation, and interventions related to kleptomania. I want to explore the insights into the relationship between economic pressures and deviant behavior, and how environments where stealing is common or motivated can help kleptomaniac tendencies with one's own social environment. It is critical to understand that our diverse characteristics of individuals who shoplift, as research indicates, varied motivations for this behavior. What is kleptomania? Kleptomania is characterized by a recurrent and uncontrollable urge to steal, despite the act of stealing being inappropriate and illegal. Individuals with kleptomania experience an emotion of distress and tension before the act of stealing. Unlike typical shoplifters, those with kleptomania are not motivated by financial gain, revenge, or a desire for material possession. The items stolen by those with kleptomania often lack of monetary or personal value and are typically discarded after being taken. The key features of kleptomania are impulsive behavior, a strong, often irresistible urge to steal which individuals are unable to control, ego-dynastic nature. The act of stealing is out of alignment with the individual's personal values, causing either significant guilt and shame or a sense of pride. Absence of external motivation. Theft often occurs without a clear intention for personal gain, such as financial need or rebellion, differentiating kleptomania from typical shoplifters. Emotional relief, gratification. Individuals often experience relief or gratification after the theft, reinforcing the compulsion. Co-occurring conditions. Kleptomania is often associated with other psychiatric disorders such as obsessive compulsive disorder, depression, and anxiety. Characteristics and symptoms of kleptomania. Many characteristics and symptoms of kleptomania occur during the act of stealing, such as the emotion of pre-theft tension, which creates anxiety or relentlessness within the kleptomaniac before stealing. The emotions of a person diagnosed with kleptomania are not driven by emotions or desires, but rather an internal compulsion that creates an award for stealing. Individuals with kleptomania experience difficulties with impulse control, which is similar to the cognitive and neuropsychological impairments that affect those in obsessive compulsive disorder or OCD. Neurobiological factors. Neuroimaging studies suggest abnormalities in brain regions involved in impulse control and decision making. A study utilizing MRI found mild entropy in the bilateral disoriental prefrontal cortexes and left hippocampus, which are areas crucial for executive function and memory. Cognitive and emotional dysfunction. Neurophysiological findings suggest individuals with kleptomania exhibit cognitive impairments, particularly in tasks involving executive functioning, visuospatial processing, and memory. These defects may impair self-regulation, contributing to an inability to control the urge to steal. Case study. A patient, 57 years old, with a long history of kleptomaniac and obsessive compulsive disorder. Her background. She began shoplifting at the age of 52 without emotional attachment to the stolen items. Patient showed no feelings or guilt or remorse following theft, despite repeated arrests. The shoplifting was compulsive and driven by an uncontrolled urge rather than financial gain or rebellion. She continued to engage in these behaviors, being aware of the legal consequences and the monitoring at stores. Many of the OCD symptoms the patient was experiencing was repeated hand-washing rituals, cleaning compulsions, and avoidant behaviors, as refusing to cook due to contamination fears. The patient also displayed significant difficulty controlling her impulse to shoplift, which aligned with her OCD behaviors. Notably, these were a lack of guilt or remorse associated with her stealing behavior, which contrasts with the typical emotion response seen in offenders. The primary diagnosis. The patient was diagnosed with kleptomania, impulsive stealing behavior without personal gain, alongside with obsessive compulsive disorder, as the two conditions were found to coexist and likely influence each other. The patient's difficulty controlling impulses to steal, as well as the euphoria and relief associated with the act, are consistent and defining characteristics of kleptomania. Theory 1. Kleptomania and strain theory. Strain theory, developed by Robert Menton in 1938, possessed that individuals may resort to deviant behavior when they are unable to achieve society's accepted goals through legitimate means. In many cases, they turn to alternate methods, often involving rule-breaking or criminal behavior. According to strain theory, structures that limit access to resources, such as wealth or success, can create feelings of frustration and strain, leading individuals to engage in behaviors outside legal norms. Theory 2. Differential association theory and kleptomania. Differential association theory, proposed by Edwin Sutherland in 1947, suggests that deviant behavior is learned through interactions with others who motivate or normalize such behaviors. According to differential theory, individuals inherit deviant acts by associating with others who encourage these behaviors. This learning occurs through communication and values or attitudes and techniques necessary for engaging in deviant acts are acquired through these social interactions. Comparison of theories. Strain theory focuses on individual responses to social pressures, particularly economic strain. Differential association theory focuses on the influence of social relationships, peer groups in shaping the behavior of one's own self. Evidence comparison. Strain theory may explain kleptomania in economically disadvantaged groups, while differential association theory is more useful for understanding kleptomania within social contexts of influence. My evaluation. Differential association theory may be more comprehensive in explaining the social learning aspect of kleptomania. What makes differential association theory particularly relevant to understanding kleptomania is its focus on how environments shape behavior. It asserts that people are more likely to engage in deviant behavior when they are surrounded by those. What makes differential association theory particularly relevant to understanding kleptomania is its focus on how social environments shape behavior. It asserts that people are more likely to engage in deviant behavior when they are surrounded by those who exhibit similar actions or attitudes. Research supports this idea, showing that peer influence and family dynamics play a critical role in the development of kleptomania. For example, a person who grows up in an environment where stealing is either accepted or overlooked may be more likely to develop kleptomania as they learn to view stealing as a normal or accepted behavior. In conclusion, both strain theory and differential association theory provide valuable insights into the factors that contribute to kleptomania, yet when comparing the two, differential association theory offers a more compelling explanation for the impulse to steal. Strain theory, developed by Robert Merton, possesses that individuals turn to deviant behavior such as theft when they are unable to achieve societal goals through legitimate means. While this theory highlights the role of societal pressure and frustration in prompting criminal behavior, it is primarily focuses on the individual's response to external obstacles, such as poverty or lack of opportunity. However, kleptomania is more complex. It's a more complex impulse disorder, often linked to emotional triggers and learned behaviors rather than a direct response to societal strain on blocked goals. On the other hand, differential association theory emphasizes the importance of social learning and peer influence, which aligns more closely with the behaviors observed in kleptomania. According to this theory, individuals learn behaviors including criminals' acts through interactions with others who reinforce those behaviors. In the case of kleptomania, people who are exposed to peers or family members who normalize or encourage stealing are more likely to adopt the same behavior. The theory accounts for how individuals internalize these behaviors and justifications, which may explain the compulsive nature of kleptomania, where the impulse to steal is learned and reinforced in social contexts. While strain theory may explain why some individuals steal out of desperation or frustration, differential association theory provides a more nuanced understanding of how the impulse to steal can become integrated through socialization. One's own actions offering a clearer explanation for the repetitive impulse nature of kleptomania. Therefore, I believe this differential association theory better captures the social and psychological factors behind kleptomania, emphasizing the critical role of learned behavior and peer influence in the development of this disorder.